El Bicho, Chapter 1, The Three-Tailed Comet. Long before stadiums vibrated with the chants of millions or coins clinked in the hives of commerce, there was a night unlike any other. On that night, a comet streaked across the sky with 3 tails of emerald fire. It did not fall or fade. It simply whispered a promise. From that omen was born a unique beetle. His name was not yet known, but soon all would call him El Bicho. His shell was black with salty glimmers, like lava stones embraced by the sea. He was born on the floating island of Madeira, a rock lifted by invisible roots in the middle of the ocean, where waves spoke with the wind, and the wind wove destinies. His early days were humble. He lived beneath a curled leaf in a forgotten corner of the forest of steep slopes, alongside his mother, a beetle who spun silk threads for others' nests, and his father, a mining beetle who vanished for days in lightless tunnels. In that corner of the world, El Bicho knew neither golden trophies nor tales of glory. He knew only the hum of hunger, the creak of cold, and his mother's silent sigh each time she served a dried petal for supper. But within his tiny legs throbbed a strange restlessness. Though he knew nothing of balls or goals, he felt the world did not end in that clearing of misery. He ran. He ran as if leaves were giant obstacles and tree trunks the stands of a hidden stadium. "Why do you run so much?" other insects asked. "No one's chasing you." "I'm chasing something I can't yet see," he replied, panting. His mother watched from the shelter's entrance as she mended the broken wings of more important insects. "You have fire in your legs, my son," she said, stroking his shell. "But remember, fire without purpose only burns." Each night, El Bicho gazed at the sky, searching for the comet. He never saw it again, but he swore its light hid within him, a spark that never died. It was then he met his first mentor, an old grey antennae-eyed grasshopper named Gerius, once a sprinter in his youth. He found El Bicho training alone at the foot of a ravine, measuring his jumps with marks in the dirt. "What are you doing here, little one?" asked Gerius. "These hills aren't for games." "I'm not playing," El Bicho replied. "I'm practicing." "Practicing for what?" "To be the best." The old grasshopper laughed, not mockingly, but with nostalgia. "The best at what?" "At everything." Intrigued, Gerius observed him for days. Soon, he noticed the beetle was unlike the rest. He wasn't stronger or faster, but he was the only one who didn't quit when he fell. What others did once, he did 20 times. What others deemed enough, he saw as just the beginning. And so, Gerius trained him. He taught him to control his breath, strengthen his joints, and move like wind through damp leaves. One day, Gerius said, "You have potential, but your island is small. Your fire will grow too fierce to stay. You must leave." Tears of fear in his eyes, El Bicho bid farewell to his mother, who gave him her most prized possession, a dried seaweed fragment wrapped in petals, her amulet. "Carry this. Let it remind you where you came from and whom to return to when you're great," she said, embracing him with fragile legs. And so, El Bicho set off for the great meadow of Lisbon, where his true transformation would begin. Chapter 2, The Labyrinth of Roots and the City of Wind. When El Bicho reached Lisbon, the sun didn't rise the same. The leaves didn't whisper his name as they had in Madeira. The great meadow was vast, cold, full of underground passages where voices crossed but never met. A delegation of grey insects, formal and precise, welcomed him to Sporting's quarry, a complex of green hives and tunnels where young insects competed in impossible trials. Here, talent was common, but discipline was rare. "Survival here isn't about dreams," said Viriato, a beetle coach. Only those who don't need applause thrive. El Bicho slept on an old branch, apart from others. While they shared stories or fed on sweet sap, he trained in the rain. Icy droplets slid off his shell, but couldn't extinguish the fire in his legs. He ran through wet roots at night, leaped onto slippery leaves. Practice after practice, his precision sharpened. He didn't compete with others, only with yesterday's self. By day, he stood out for something unteachable, his gaze, a rare glint, not of arrogance, but conviction. A beetle who seemed to think 5 moves ahead. "You don't just know where the ball will be," said Arlindo, a tactical grasshopper. "You decide where it must be." Rumors spread. The kid from Madeira, the tireless beetle. Elder beetles began to respect him, not for his games, but for his unseen efforts. Yet not all was glory. Days of doubt came. Nights where letters to his mother were stained with tears. "I have no one to talk to. I feel like a seed lost among rocks," he once wrote. But around his neck hung the seaweed amulet, a reminder of who he was. One day, as he trained alone, a mysterious figure watched from a golden mushroom. Surfer Gabug, coach of the Red Dragon Kingdom, the fiercest insect league. Fergabug rarely spoke, but that day he uttered 2 fateful words. "He's ready." And so, El Bicho crossed the ocean to the Northern Kingdom, where fields were crystal, players were steel, and anthems were as ancient as stone. Chapter 3. The Forging in the Red Dragon Kingdom. The Red Dragon Kingdom was no place for ordinary insects. Wind howled, every leaf a battlefield. Colosseums were carved from gleaming stone. Beetles and butterflies wore armor like diamonds. When El Bicho first stepped onto that soil, his dreams took shape. Sir Fergabug, the legendary silver-antennaed coach, studied him. "Speed and strength aren't enough here," he said. "You need cunning, strategy, and above all, heart." Early days were lessons. El Bicho trained in rain, faced giant grasshoppers, and battled cold that seeped into his shell. He learned to read the wind, dodge attacks with his small frame, and strike with precision. Soon, he became infamous, a black lightning bolt shattering defenses. His name roared through caves, El Bicho, the invincible. But veterans sneered. Diogenes, a beetle, saw him as a threat. "You can't just waltz in and rule the field," Diogenes growled. "There are rules here you don't understand." El Bicho survived by outworking all. He honed his craft, absorbed tactics, studied rivals. Over time, he won 5 silver fox cups, 3 golden hawk shields, and a firefly scepter symbolizing championship. Each trophy testified to his discipline. Yet his greatness extended beyond the field. By night, he studied scrolls on insect economics, strategy, and philosophy. "Gold without seed doesn't sprout," he wrote. "Wealth isn't accumulation, it's wisdom to multiply it." He envisioned a legacy beyond trophies. He allied with entrepreneurial insects, invested in moss colonies, and founded academies for dreamers like him. Fame bred envy. Rivals sabotaged him. Pressure nearly broke him. But his amulet and memories of Madeira strengthened him. In the Red Dragon Kingdom, El Bicho became legend. Proof that discipline, sacrifice, and vision let any insect forge their destiny. Chapter 4. Coronation at the White Palace. After glory in the Red Dragon Kingdom, destiny led El Bicho to the White Palace in Madrid, where the sun kissed eternal skies. Here, stadiums were colossal, nobility demanding. Clad in a white mantle, he broke record after record, earning 70 accolades and 11 championships. Unblinded by fame, he trained by day, studied economics and leadership by night. His curiosity was insatiable. Mentor Harpinano, a wise cricket, taught him, true wealth isn't fleeting glitter, it's steady growth. El Bicho built empires off the field, rest colonies for travelers, clinics and academies teaching work and thrift. His brand, CR7, Gold with Purpose, inspired thousands. Critics and rivals tested him, yet his amulet anchored him to his roots. Years later, he grasped that greatness wasn't trophies, it was legacy. He founded the Bicho Academy, preaching prosperity through hard work, wit, and heart. Chapter 5. The Empire Builder and the Merchant of Time Beyond Stadiums. El Bicho sowed seeds for forests of future growth. With Harpinano, he forged fair alliances, built moss-covered hotels and healing clinics. His academies taught flight and destiny. CR7, Gold with Purpose, sold values, not pollen of fleeting fame. Time became his currency. He planned meticulously, turning efforts into timely harvests. Fame drew envy. Shadows of betrayal lurked. He grew wiser, loyal allies close, caution his shield. His legacy, bridges between dreams and reality, built on discipline, strategy, and heart. Chapter 6. Trials of Fate and Legacy. Years etched scars on El Bicho's shell. At 30 moons, his legs weakened, but his wisdom multiplied. He donated nectar, built bridges, and fair trade networks. Enemies conspired, but he endured. Under a golden bamboo tree, he meditated. Wealth is the fruit you help grow when you can no longer sow. He founded the Bicho Academy, teaching investment in dreams, values, and action. Never trust one wealth source. Make money work while you sleep. Financial literacy is your greatest legacy. In his final night, golden leaves fell softly. His name lived on, not as a king, but as the teacher who broke poverty's chains. Chapter 7. The Unbroken Legacy Generations Past. Luciérnagas recited his legend. Crickets sang verses of his impossible goals and unyielding ethics. Atop a time-forgotten hill, the Bicho Academy thrived. Lessons flourished. Divide effort nectar into savings, investment, and solidarity. Compound interest's magic. Wealth without purpose is weight. On the highest rock, his final words etched. Discipline is your most valuable seed. Abundance, the harvest of perseverance. Winds whispered, Siu. El Bicho was no mere beetle. He was an architect of futures, a sower of hope. Now, he lives in every insect who writes their story not by chance, but through relentless work and shared wisdom. For El Bicho never died. He merely changed form. The end.